We are now ready to define a query which will obtain and filter the data from the database based on our filter string. And we will also define a form which will visualize the results in a nice table. Let's start by saving the current configuration by clicking on Save Configuration button, which will show us a nice notification. Now we go to Queries, and we want to click on Create, and we specify the name of the query, which is going to be a person. We need to specify which table we are querying. In this case, it's going to be a person table. And we need to specify the filter field, meaning what we want to filter on. We want to filter on person name. We need to click on plus to edit, and we can save the configuration. We can specify more than one filter field, and we'll get to that later. We can now define our person view. First, we need to define which query we are using to visualize this form. So in this case, it's going to be a person query. Unfortunately, this doesn't reload automatically, so we can either save the configuration and reload the whole page, or just you need to switch tabs back and forth. This loads the current fields which are available to the view. You can zoom the editor to go full screen if you have a smaller resolution. I will just work with a standard one. Now, the editor contains a few parts. On the left, we have our list of data fields when selected this part. Up here, we have a list of pages, and we can see there are two pages or forms, a list form and a detail form. For now, we'll focus only on the list form. Then we have a list of available fields, which we can use to create our form, and we can visualize all of it at the same time. For now, I will focus on having only the data fields. Currently, we have no table columns defined. When we click on it, it will show us the current properties. And we see we have selected a table, and we see that there are no columns defined. So we click on to add first column. We will want to add first person name. Let's call it name. The source field in this case is a person name, and we also need to define the type of the field, which is textual field. And we can see that the table is being created for us. Let's add a second column, which will be a person code. We can click on person code, which is also type string. We can reorder these fields by just dragging and dropping them in order which we like. Code and name. And let's add all the other fields, such as sex. And for now, let's also add a title. In the first field, we'll define what is the header of the column. So we can see we have a code name sex. If we modify sex or name to names, we can see that it automatically refreshes. We can now save our configuration, and let's check out our results. So I'll open a new tab, and I'll go to localhost 8000. And if everything went well, we can see our new view called person. And when we click on the person, we see a person's code and person's name, sex, and title. Title seems to be largely empty, but let's check our filtering. Right? If you remember, in our query, we specified a query field, a person name. So if we specify, for example, ALBE art, we can see that we are filtering by Albert.